Hey everybody, Brian Miller, Small Town Movie Watcher. And Easter has just come and gone, and I got the opportunity to catch the movie The Case for Christ. This movie is rated PG. It's based upon the book by Lee Strobel called The Case for Christ. And this book goes through, well, not the book, but the movie is based upon Lee Strobel's researching into what would become his book, The Case for Christ. Now, if you don't know who Lee Strobel is, that's all right. I only knew him kind of by name. And he's got a series of books that just kind of called The Case for. There's Christ, there's Christmas, there's Christianity. And I think overall, he's got about 20 books, not all of them having to do with the case for. Before he wrote this book, he was an atheist. He didn't believe in anything, and he was an investigative news reporter for the Chicago Tribune. So basically, I'm telling you what this movie is. So what he did, what happened was is that his wife came to a belief in Jesus. And this completely rocked his world in the fact that he was a staunch atheist. He was a big fan of Nietzsche and Freud and and Plato and all these people that were all about the metaphysics, all about I can touch it and I can feel it and I know that this is truth because I went and I researched it. So to him, Christianity did not follow those rules because there's a book. There's one book, and it's the Bible, and we as Christians, that's all we believed in. He just couldn't take that all it took was just believing. That's all it took. So what he sets out to do back in the day was that he went out and he investigated the story of the crucifixion. Because really it comes down to, if Jesus didn't really die on the cross and raise again 3 days later, the whole thing falls down. The whole thing is it's a mess. And therefore we get to the conclusion that, so what he's trying to do is that if he can prove, 2,000 years later, if he can prove that Jesus didn't really die or didn't really resurrect, then the whole belief in Christianity is bupkis. So, spoiler alert, he comes to find the truth and becomes a Christian. He's a very influential Christian in today's world. I've not read any of his books, but there are a number of people that have. But he's one of those guys that you go and you look for his stuff because he's done the research already. So since this is about the movie, let's talk about it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So the good is that this is a Christian movie. It's put out by Pure Flix. You may know Pure Flix from Facebook ads. They actually have a online rental service, kind of like Netflix. But Pure Flix is faith-based or family-friendly movies and TV shows that's safe for your family. So this was produced by them. This group also produced the God's Not Dead movie. For if you are a Newsboys fan, it's God's Not Dead, He's surely alive. So it's that. Or as my children like to say, it's the Lion song, the Roaring Like a Lion song. So there's that. It's not that, but it was actually, for a Christian movie, it was a decent movie. There's a lot of times that as a Christian movie, I am just not a fan of how those work out. They're not good cinematography, or it's a bad storyline, or the acting is just horrible. You know, this movie got some people that could act. This movie had, you know, the dialogue wasn't horrible, and the shots, the cinematography, the scenes were pretty decent. So overall, a pleasurable experience. So that's the big part. Downside of this movie, they take what took him like 6 months to a year to take care of, and they condensed it down to 2 hours. It's really an hour and 45 minutes. If you take out the part before, this chunk over here at the beginning, we'll say it's over here, took out the part over here at the beginning where he hasn't come to this conclusion. Now, it's really only about 10 minutes of the movie, but, you know, that leaves us like this much of the movie left to talk about his investigation. So I don't know, this, obviously it's a story about investigation and historical pieces, so you don't want it to go too long. There's just too many boring details, and they took the exciting parts. So there's that. But they took something that was this much. It took this much time, and they condensed it down to this much time. You like how I'm using the screen? Yeah. So I went from here to here. So it's not horrible. It's just, that's the bad part. They took a lot of information and they cut out a lot of it to just what was important. And really, they probably did that for the skeptics that might come and see this movie, and they really just pushed it with the hard historical evidence that there's 500 witnesses and that there's more copies closer to the time of the resurrection of the New Testament than any other book in history. That there's, you know, one of the theories is that were they all hallucinating, and another thought was, well, did he really die on the cross? So they bring up the medical expert, the psychological expert, who's also an agnostic. They bring in the historical expert. They bring in the philosophical experts. So they brought in all these experts, but they condensed all of this whole time from here to there. So it's not bad. Now the ugly part. Again, I said they brought in people that could act, and there's nothing against her, but I think her name's Erica Christensen, maybe, I think that's her name. She's in the movie Swim Fan, and she was on Parenthood. She was the blonde lawyer mom on Parenthood. She's a great actress. I think she does a really good job. She delivers her lines well. She is a staunch Scientologist. And Scientology and Christianity are not the same. And the experiences that she showed and tried to portray to me just kept getting... And again, the movie, it's about acting, and it's not so much about their personal journey and if they believe it or not. But I'd like to believe that the people on the screen do believe it, what it is that they're doing. So that's the ugly part for me. There's nothing really against her acting, her line delivery. You know, I think she did a great job. It just, in the back of my mind the whole time, this person doesn't actually believe what she's selling. And I think that if you're telling a story about Christ and what it means to be a Christian, then you have to believe it. You can't just fake it until you make it. So that's it. I just got done watching Case for Christ. It's rated PG. It's in your theater, probably only for a limited time right now. take your friends to it. I thought it was a good movie. If you're having problems being able to open up to friends about what it means to be a Christian, how you can come to Christ because they have all these questions, this movie might help you in that journey. They might open up their minds to a conversation with you. So grab a friend, grab a non-believing friend, take them to this movie. I thought it was pretty good. So Brian Miller, Small Town Movie Watcher, thanks.